Well,
Max is buying beers.
Apparently, I'm buying beers.
He
Psych.
is.
Not. Wait, no. Wait,
is.
this can be clipped. Even in the sarcasm. I gotta stop doing that. I
Clipped.
gotta stop doing that. No.
Welcome into the PHNX Rising or PHNX Max is buying
you are
beers
not hijacking the intro. That is my
podcast.
job. That's the one piece of semblance and sanity that I have left on this show. Welcome in to the PHNX Rising show. Actually, I don't appreciate anyone joining us. You just don't tune into this one. That's probably best for everything. Don't download it. Don't listen to it tomorrow or the next day or the next day or watch it live now. I am Max Simpson. I'm not buying beers. This is Owain Evans. He is buying beers. What do you think about that?
I am. I'm going up to the bar.
Exactly.
Right?
Wait,
this is what's going to happen.
I'm
I'm going to go up to the bar. I'm going to order everyone's beers, and I'm going to say, put them on Max Simpson's tab.
Don't do that. Yeah, actually, go for it.
You can do it yourself as well.
You can do it. See what happens. I don't have my card saved everywhere. That's all I got. Well, hey, we appreciate those of you who are joining us. A lot of Twitter activity in the day, all serious stuff. Definitely nothing Photoshop worthy or any. Nope, no VAR. Nope. Albert in the chat. VAR confirmed. VAR is not confirmed. We're not.
But
We're
Max
anti.
is buying beers.
We're
yeah.
anti-VAR here. Actually.
Beers are on Max.
No, we're anti-VAR. Appreciate you guys joining us in the chat. We have a lot of gold Cup stuff to talk about. It's gonna be a very Gold Cup centric episode. You know, right? Because USA and Jamaica are meeting in the final. Oh wait, no. Literally, the script writers were like, "That's not gonna happen." No, that was an absolute. Yeah, am I sensing tension? Yeah, I mean that's the PHNX Rising podcast featuring tension. That's what we do around here. You know, the scriptwriters definitely didn't have it going according to plan. USA, Panama with a 0-0 going into, you then have extra time.
Good penalty shout, late mine for Panama.
Yeah, fair. You know, Panama going up in extra time. 1-0. Then Jesus Ferrer for the USA equalizing with a pretty
the Pirates of the Caribbean.
pretty nice volley. And then, you get into the PK shootout. And I mean, here's what happens. You let a team stick around.
Gerard
they
Piqué was
lose.
involved. It's a penalty shootout, Max.
Yeah, a P.
No, you don't shorten them
to
to PKs.
penalty kick.
Penalty.
You like that? A penalty kick. Fine, a penalty kick. USA loses. This is what happens when you let a team stick around. But the other thing is, here's the thing. People, listen, I'm not going to say that,
Max, they were outplayed. Don't talk about this holding, let them
I'm not.
hang in there.
You didn't even let me finish.
Panama outplayed the US.
Literally, that was getting my point. Is what I'm saying is Panama did outplay the US, and people think I'm not going to say that Panama was like, oh hey, US should have, Panama should have won this game before going into it, and that we overlooked them. Like no, Panama wasn't really here for what the hype kind of suggested. If you look at this team on paper, for people who are neutrals, you're thinking USA is going to win, right? Panama, while they're not the smallest countries in the tournament, very much, you're thinking USA should win this. Panama has been stacking up pretty impressive results throughout the tournament. This is not even me blaming the US B or C team, whatever you want to call it, but US did go into a long match against Canada. They went to spot kicks. Ended up, winning that one. You can't produce the same result, especially a Panamanian team who they out-pressured them. They out-hustled them. They were more physical. And honestly, they were more clinical. They did deserve to win that match.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100% Panama deserved to win that match. The US were awful.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
There's not really a way to slice it. Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Okay. And look, I think if we're going to pick out a few guys who I think were really good on Panama's side, I think that Adalberto Carrasquillo was actually really, really good in the midfield. You looked at what he was doing, the kind of ways that he was spraying the ball around from that midfield position, the way he was kickstarting some attacks by just finding the right long ball or the right ball up the middle to set people off and get them off running. I think he had a really good game. But when you look at then things from the US's side, it was mediocre, incredibly mediocre.
Oh, yeah.
And look, people are going to come out with this, B team, C team, whatever you want to call it. If you choose to put out a weak team, you choose to put out a poor team, your fault.
That's a great point right
Panama
there.
also played a weakened team. They left out Carlos Alvey.
I'm still baffled.
Another key note from the chat as well. Ramon is here for the beer. So Max is buying beers. But
I'll buy Ramon a beer, and no one else. I'll buy Ramon a beer.
You'll buy everyone a beer.
No, okay. Anyway, no, and also yes, shout out to Mikey, Ramon. We missed you. Even got the
Max is buying beers like Jesus Ferrer is scoring against Caribbean islands with the word "and" in the name.
I don't got 6 beers to buy. I'm buying 6 beers. No, but I also see Mikey's in the chat. Ramon, we miss you. Even got the PHNX picture still. Absolutely, we love that. Shout out, Ramon. No, it's crazy, right? Because this is really one of those arguments that has always come around the U.S. I mean, listen, I understand the world does not revolve around the U.S. from a soccer standpoint. Crazy, I know, but
does it actually not, man?
Oh, I know, it's kind of nuts. No, but let's paint this picture, right? Let's get it out of the way because I know this isn't going to be a U.S. only Gold Cup episode. It won't.
Not at all. No, we got a lot of other big things to talk about.
Of course. I want to make this point that's always fascinated me is it really is a damned if I do, damned if I don't type of scenario when you're describing U.S. in these domestic tournaments, right? And I think this is something where if you are a U.S. fan, or even if you're not, you need to get away from this type of thinking if you're involved with the U.S. And what I mean by that is, hey, you either go into a tournament like the Gold Cup or CONCACAF or something where, okay, you're facing these nations that vastly depleted in terms of whether it's players, resources, they don't stack up to you. Yes, you can even say run a form, but U.S. realistically should be ahead of a lot of these nations purely just based on infrastructure and everything, that alone. But then when you go in and say, oh, you're playing your B team, oh, your C team, and then that's almost your out for when you lose, that's kind of a weak argument. Even when you win with your A team, you need to, this is not something that is sustainable as a country.
The metropolitan area of San Diego, where the game was played yesterday, has a population of 3.3 million, roughly. The population of Panama is 4.4 million.
Yeah.
That's your context here, okay? I don't care.
It doesn't matter about the B or C team. It really doesn't.
Did Panama have all these European stars? No, they didn't.
It doesn't matter when the infrastructure of this country and just the pure resources, it doesn't, resource and everything don't always equate to better players, but when you have I don't think people realize the disparity in just funding and everything that goes on with these countries. You're talking about a U.S. structure that, my gosh, the academy systems and everything that are in place from when kids are kids, it's absolutely staggering. And that's where it just doesn't hold up to me, where you're playing your B team or C team or whatever, you should be winning all of these competitions. And then here's the other thing is when people lose or when even the A team wins, it's, oh yeah, who cares? We were just playing our B or C team anyway. It doesn't really matter. It's this is where you grow the infrastructure of a team is by winning with these B and C teams.
But this is the thing. They argue then with the B and C team whole thing. It's an excuse. It's something that comes out when you are losing late in the tournament.
Yes.
These people aren't quiet about it when they win the tournament. It's very Detroit City-esque. We don't care. We don't care, guys. Don't you see that we don't care?
Yeah.
We don't care. I don't care about this.
I was laughing about
really
your tweet,
don't care. Can't you see how much I don't care?
Look how much I don't care.
I've not been tweeting about this tournament for the last month at all. I don't care. I really don't care. And then I'll hop in here and I'll tell you, but I actually don't care. But I've still been talking about it for a lot this last month, but I don't care.
This is going to be a really nice soundbite. It's crazy. It's true.
It's serious, right? This is your continental championship, okay? Yeah. And people then will turn out and say things like, oh, yeah, but they got too close together with the Nations League. Yeah, it dilutes it a little bit. But how many teams do you see go into a tournament and not play friendlies before as well?
Yeah.
These were right before. It wasn't like some kind of 4 or 5 game tournament before the Gold Cup kicked off. This was 2 games right before. Again, I understand some of you people may not be over here. You may not want to have all of them running for the whole time. You may want some of them to go back. Fine, you make a little bit of rotation. If you choose to put a C team out for this one, you've made that choice. You forfeit in making that choice the right to complain about it. This isn't injuries. This isn't suspensions. This isn't something else that lets you then really kind of just dismiss it as, oh, well, this isn't Rising having to go to New Mexico last year and being forced to put kids out there. I will say that it's just, look, you've made that choice. When you make that choice, otherwise, you know what? You sound like the kind of people when you see upsets of big teams in cups. Oh, we didn't put our first team out. You made that choice. And you have to live with that.
Seems to care more than I do. I love that. No, I mean, I think that this even opens up a bigger conversation and gets into the next match as well. Is that when you focus all of the coverage, and as Fox will do so, you're playing to an American audience, and when you
Donovan and Alexis broadcast.
How much time do we have on this pod? No, but when you only are catering to it from a U.S. perspective, they're like, wow, how could U.S. lose a match like this? Or, oh, everything is focused fully on the U.S. and that you're not giving your competition due coverage, due credit, even really helping to showcase what they're even about as a nation. This is then when things like this happen, it kind of sets you back. And those people who are, saying, oh, our B team, C team, whatever, it then kind of throws you put the mirror right in front of you, and it's like, well, wait a second. How are we caring so much when the coverage of this tournament is already so U.S. focused, and that the average person doesn't know much about Panama because the spotlight is only on the U.S. And then when the U.S. is knocked out, you get to this where it's like, okay, on paper, it might seem like an underwhelming final, but that's just because we don't care to be educated enough on the competition. It's always from our lens.
I mean, yes, I get that. And everyone also looks at these things and always says, look, it's the US, it's Mexico. That's what you want to see in these finals, is it not? And I get that. I get that a lot of people feel that way. I mean, look, you just look at the lineup that Panama had out there. It wasn't that impressive, I didn't think.
Yeah.
I just think from the US's perspective, I don't really feel as though there's any real brushing over the fact that this was a poor tournament.
It was.
This was a poor tournament from the US's perspective.
You had
C team or not, this is a poor tournament.
You would say 3 out of the 5 competitions where, like, realistically you are playing high caliber teams that are going to be ones that are testing you even with your quote unquote A squad, if we're going to be using those terms, right? Jamaica, Canada,
the US
and
won
Panama.
2 games in this tournament.
Yes.
The US won 2 games.
Yeah.
Against St. Kitts and Nevis and Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth here. They didn't beat Jamaica. They drew 1-1 with Jamaica. Probably should have lost that game, to be perfectly honest. They went to penalties against Canada. Granted, I think Canada is like still very much quality competition if they were facing some of their guys, but it's like it's not a dominant performance. It's not the dominant performance that people say. And they always play at home. And I mean, look, I know this one gets done to death on social media as well, but the US always play at home. People are like, oh, but there's so many other fans as well. Yeah, well, it's okay. Just say that your soft serve fan base doesn't show up to games, right? Serious. You play at home every tournament. You always get outdrawn. It don't matter who you're playing half the time, you're getting outdrawn. Seriously, show up.
Unless you're going to freaking what's it called? Minnesota for that
unless they're going there
game.
Typing away in the computer going, are their own? I mean, they actively admit that they do this, that they search for places where they know that there are not people of different ethnicities. Effectively, is what they say. That's effectively what they have said.
And you're not wrong.
They go to those places where they've then played
we want a strong home field advantage in front of our fans. Yeah.
But anyway, you know what? Let's actually have a listen here to what the US coach or interim coach here, BJ Callahan, actually had to say after the game about the tournament as a whole.
We had an objective to come here and win a second trophy. So, we're disappointed that we weren't able to achieve that. But we also had other objectives, which was to, again, get as many players experience in this format of where you play group stage, go to knockout stages, have to play high-intensity games against difficult opponents with travel and heat and, and just sort of the circumstances that come with knockout rounds. And, I thought the guys responded really well. We had moments of adversity. You saw the group respond to it. And I think, there's a lot of learning lessons that we're all going to take away as we now, continue our preparation to the path of 2026.
I will shout out in the chat, actually, there during that video, Thomas and Michael making their comments there about Michael mostly there with the who would go to Minnesota in February for a game. Shout out to Michael and Thomas who actually did do that. That little pointed remark that wasn't aimed at you guys who actually do show up to games, but it's definitely aimed at, I think, the support at large.
It's the fact when you have to jump through so many hoops to make it happen. It's like, come on, man! It's not hard to see.
BJ Callahan here also being described as PE teacher-esque, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to be fair, it's not the permanent. It's a bridge.
He was a temporary.
Get bargain bin Ted Lasso out of here.
Bargain bin Ted Lasso.
I mean, honestly, it is actually quite interesting how the narrative changed from winning CONCACAF Nations League and everyone is absolutely freaking out and saying, "Oh my gosh, he should be our permanent manager," and then you lose to Panama and get this guy out of here. Never should have been there.
I think it was an underwhelming Gold Cup as a whole.
I think so.
I understand that. Yes, you've got they made a lot of changes here, but it was just poor. It was just poor. I don't look outside of playing against really mediocre nations. What convincing performance that the US ever put in.
And that's just it. It's people knock CONCACAF for being a lower, not as competitive confederation as a whole, but you have to play who's in front of you, and US did not show out against those teams. Unfortunately, it was the same thing for our friend Kevon Lambert and Jamaica, falling 3-0 to Mexico. I mean, listen, on paper, I very much stood by that. I think this was a very winnable Jamaica game. I think even the position that Kev was in and everything like that, you go in with a plan that has served you well, even against a Mexico side that I think has been very helter-skelter, very hit or miss, especially, the loss against Qatar and whatnot. It's a very beatable team, and yet when you concede a goal, that quickly, you're getting punched in the mouth, and it's an uphill battle from there. There's no way around it.
It's interesting, though, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned the Qatar loss. That was something that Jamaica's coach actually, before the game, brought up as saying he didn't really look at it as a loss for Mexico, because Qatar had one shot and one goal, whereas Mexico had over 20 shots.
No, right. It's a FIFA simulation.
And it was one of those games where it just doesn't happen sometimes. I think overall, I'm not sure why you've just thrown that at me there, Max, but overall, as a performance for Jamaica, it was lacking a lot. We saw Kevon Lambert replaced at halftime. They were trying to get a few things going in that game. I think, it's disappointing when you concede goals in the kind of ways that they did. I think in that first half, you never see them being out of it until very late on, though, because they've got the talent in there. The guys like your Leon Bailey, the guys like your Damari Gray, who can actually just turn that game around. The problem is, I think their attack was incredibly disjointed. It was very much a lot of guys going at it by themselves, trying to individually pull them over the line. That wasn't going to work, and it didn't work against Mexico. I think there were times as well with certain players, such as, say, a Leon Bailey, I think really stood out in this regard, who are trying to do, is trying to do too much in terms of, trying to take on too many players yourself. There's trying to do too much in terms of just kind of dancing around almost. And that was Leon Bailey at times, I felt. Leon Bailey was also very lucky not to be sent off in the game. I think the way he kicked out when he was on the floor, he'd been fouled, correctly called, and he does that little stamp out with the studs exposed, and you look at it and go, oh, just maybe VAR could send it down. They did not, and so he stays on the field. But overall, I think it was disappointing. I think, though, overall, from Jamaica's perspective, you're going to take some positives. Sure. There are elements of this squad that have not been around that squad very much. It was a good building experience for them. It's worth noting, of course, again, that they are a very small country, broadly speaking. They frequently do quite well in CONCACAF tournaments, making the semifinals.
Punching above their weight,
making a semifinals, not a bad showing for them. And of course, their attention really is looking towards the 26 World Cup qualifiers. Yes. Those are going to be coming up down the line. The goal for them is going to be making it there. Of course, they'll also, I'm sure, be hoping to make it to the Copa America as well via the Nations League pathway that is available. However, look, I think they can get through to that point. I think it'll be interesting to see how they do in a qualification stage that does not have the US, Mexico, and Canada, how they will fare in that. There are, of course, several other teams in CONCACAF that are all very capable. Panama in the final, I mean, for a starter there.
It's crazy.
I mean, Michael's saying he thinks it was a disappointment for them. I think, broadly speaking, yes, I think they had enough in them to make it as a finalist in this tournament. However, I'll say that them losing to Mexico is a different scenario, say, to the US losing to Panama. I think that fundamentally, when you play Mexico, I think the nature of their loss is disappointing. I don't think that a loss alone necessarily
is.
That's
a good caveat.
It's complicated. I think they should have been a lot better. They had a very, very disappointing game yesterday. I don't think they fully showed up to play against Mexico, and it was poor. But I think overall, from their perspective, I don't think there's too many complaints necessarily about the final result.
No, and I mean, it's interesting. You bring up World Cup.
It's not an embarrassing result.
You bring up World Cup qualification, right? Because that's going to be the one where they are, that's the next main tournament, or at least the one they want to really look towards. I understand that's a different scenario where it's no Mexico, no US, no Canada because of, the automatic qualification. Even if it was in the traditional format, or at least the last one, where you have, 3 go and then the fourth one in a playoff, you got to look around at the current state now. And how is Jamaica not in that conversation for the fourth spot, dare I say even the third in the old format, but now that they're moving towards this 2026 one with the automatic qualification for those other teams, they have to be one of the favorites because you look around who else in CONCACAF, right? The traditional powers, Costa Rica, are very much in the phase of everyone is either incredibly young, like 19-year-old teenagers, or Keylor Navas, ancient, great guy, had a great career, but like it's a new guard coming in. You've had perennial guys who hang around, typically like your Honduras's, those types of teams, but they're never really, I would say, ones where you have seen, hey, they have a really deep run in them or a legitimate chance for qualification. Panama maybe is a good shout, especially knowing that they're in the final. But like you look at this Jamaican team, there's a lot of guys still in the prime of their career that they have Premier League experience, that a lot of their young guys, they were rolling out someone in the Manchester United Academy. I mean, Boo United, but they were running out, a 19-year-old?
That's going to go down well in the chat.
I know. They were running a 19-year-old as their starting center back. Like they are on the come up. And legitimately, I really think that this Jamaican team isn't just one where, oh, cool, they're going to squeak by in competition and they can hang around. They legitimately, if they keep on going on this track, they really could become one of the more dominant teams in CONCACAF. I don't think that's hyperbole. That's not even a Kev Lambert bias speaking. It's genuinely looking at who's on their roster and how they have overperformed their competition. Most cases, last night wasn't one of them, but they're a power. They're a threat.
I wouldn't say dominant, but I would say they could overtake Canada.
Canada's an unfortunate. See, that's the thing.
I think they can overtake Canada.
Canada's had a fall from grace ever since they won the qualification. You're thinking top of the table. You're thinking, hey, favorable group in the World Cup and everything like that. Bombed out of the group.
Their group was rough.
They
had Belgium in two semi-finalists.
You were even saying on paper that Belgium was a fraud.
Oh, yeah, because they are.
Okay.
But it's still Belgium. It's not like a mediocre
It was
team.
one of those groups where we even said legitimately any of those teams could have. It wasn't. Maybe that was a group of death as a whole. But regardless, Mike, you just saw to have more trophies than Tottenham. That's fair. No, but I really do think that Canada has had an absolute fall from grace. It shows where they are on the table, right? Not only bombing out of the World Cup, but even just the things going on internally on both the men's and the women's side.
Bankruptcy, yeah.
It's hampering them versus Jamaica. They have, they have.
We're talking federation politics now. Maybe.
No. We have a manager coming in who has experience on the international level. You see a lot of guys choosing Jamaica who have the I'm blanking on the correct clarification, but who could essentially choose Jamaica due to what nationality or parent being born or something.
So you have situations whereby people who are of Jamaican descent.
Yeah.
Many of which, of course, live in the UK, and therefore could choose to play for England or another UK nation potentially, and yet no, they're choosing to play for Jamaica.
It's the trajectory and upside. Really do think Jamaica can be a force to be reckoned with moving forward.
I think they'll be disappointed if they don't qualify for the next World Cup. I think it would be a disappointment for them if they do not make it to 26.
Agreed. And, it turns our attention to the
dual nationals, Albert points out.
Thank you. I literally knew, it's been a day. My brain could not process.
I'll also emphasize, though, that dual nationals in a footballing sense is not always identical to dual nationals in a legal sense.
Fair. I'm not a lawyer. Neither are you. It turns our attention to the final on Sunday. Panama versus Mexico. Listen, we all thought that U.S. was going to be an easy dub, and we also thought Jamaica was going to go through. What do you got on this one? And a scoreline.
Mexico will win.
It seems that way.
But I think it's going to be a tight game. I will give it to Mexico.
Don't say my score.
2-1 in extra time. It's going to go past 90 minutes. It'll be 1-1 and they'll win it in extra time.
Nah, I'm going to go 2-1, but it's going to finish in 90.
You're going in 90?
Going in 90.
See, I gave you the caveat there, so you could be right ahead of me.
I will be right. Chat, let us know. Chat, let us know what you guys think as well. We got hers 2-1 in extra time, 2-1 in regular time. But
you know what? We didn't actually. Sorry, we wrapped up all that Jamaica stuff. We forgot to actually hear from Jamaica's coach about the tournament as a whole from his perspective.
Well, I think we grew as a team. We know more about each other, both on the pitch and off the pitch. I think that is a good experience for us to have spent this. It's almost 5 weeks now together. So from like a 10 days in pre-camp for the Gold Cup. So they have learned more about me, my strengths and weaknesses, and we have learned about the players. So, and then partnerships within the team has grown. So it's hard to say it after a loss like this that we have improved as a team, but I'm going to say it anyway. Yeah, and I think the future for Jamaica national team is bright if we do it in a correct way and continue to do it in a correct way.
Yeah, I mean it's doing it the right way. It's building strategically again. Like you look at this on paper and people are automatically think, oh, Canada, they like again you're neutral, you don't know. Oh, Canada, they finished first. They took U.S. to penalties, all this stuff. Like same thing for Mexico, even same thing for U.S. Like those teams, 3 teams should be the favorites in all tournaments, but like it doesn't mean it stays this way. It's all about trajectory, and people don't realize right that international level. It's not just overnight by any means. It takes a long time, even longer than club. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, suffering Welsh fan for most of their life.
It's a slow process. It's hard. The thing about being an international manager is you kind of have to just work out how to get the best out of what you've already got there. It's a very hard process. It's not like a club manager whereby you can set your philosophy and go out and get yourself the players to fit that philosophy. No.
It's very true.
Your entire philosophy has to revolve around what is available at your disposal.
Oh, exactly.
Sometimes it's nice to watch. Sometimes it's not nice to watch.
Yeah, no.
It is what it is. It is what it is. I will say in here, Albert's saying he's going with 0-0 with Panama on pens.
Wow.
Would be worth noting that if Panama do it, it will be the first time in the Gold Cup era that a team that is not part of geographic North America will have won the tournament. Every time it has been the US, Mexico, or Canada. No Central American countries have won it in the Gold Cup era. No Caribbean countries have won it in the Gold Cup era.
Qatar has also not won it.
Qatar
I'm just going to throw that out there.
And other guest nations that have joined, including, I believe, the 2000 Gold Cup final had Colombia, if I'm not mistaken.
Wasn't South Korea in one of them or something?
They used to have guest nations. Canada won
especially
that.
If they were hosting an upcoming World Cup. Yeah.
Gold Cup title now.
Yes.
They had won the CONCACAF Championship prior to that. They had not won the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Came in 2000. They beat Colombia in the final of that tournament.
That's fair. Well, I mean, the moral of the story is you got to see what happens, and you got to go out and take it. And I'm going to go out and take this delicious beer. From our friends at Four Peaks. Yes, that's right. Four Peaks, always hooking us up with the delicious beers. I'm going to actually breeze through this ad read as quickly as I can because it's going to go off the rails. No, put that down. Put that down, producer Sean.
No, don't you put that down, producer Sean.
No.
Leave it there.
Max is not buying beers.
Max is buying beers.
I'm going to now speak in third person. Max is not buying beers. Max is sipping on an Arizona staycation, a Lotus hopped super juicy IPA. They could have just said a juicy IPA, but they said super freaking juicy. A beautiful can design. There we go. Always good stuff. We have, oddly enough,
rumor has it is super juicy when Max pays for it.
Don't like it. I'll pay for my own. Thank you very much. But no, we actually haven't drinking beers on the show in a while. It's
no,
nice.
we haven't. But that's
cheers.
because we've also not been both here in the studio for a while.
I forgive you for that. No, Reese, get out of here. Max is not buying beers. Let's not get this slander going. But you know, our friends
is buying beers.
Friends of Four Peaks, we absolutely love them. Listen, we've been teasing it for a while, and well, we're still not going to throw up the graphic right now. But check out PHNX__rising Twitter. Tomorrow, we are going to be dropping a sign up link. It is for free for our friends at Four Peaks. We're going to be doing the first Women's World Cup match, USA versus Vietnam. It is not tomorrow, Friday, or I guess Friday if you're listening to it today, but Friday the 21st is going to be that match. Again, 6 p.m. kickoff, going to be at our friends at Four Peaks. You must sign up in the link on Twitter when it drops. We'll also put it in our show notes when it becomes available. Again, completely free, but there is limited spacing, so please come through, and then be on the lookout as well, and a little bit after the fact, later next week, because we're going to drop with our friends at Valley Tap Room. Valley Tap Room also going to be doing a World Cup watch party. There's going to be Four Peaks there. All good people. Valley Tap Room is going to be hosting the Wednesday match. I'm trying to do math. The 26th. Wednesday 26th. U.S. takes on... Oh, gosh. Oh no, blanking. Words. Someone.
The Netherlands.
Thank you. I knew it was the Netherlands. I was going to say, I forgot the word for Dutch. Anyway, U.S. versus Netherlands. It's going down at Valley Tap Room. Again, check out PHNX__rising for that. We love our friends at Valley Tap Room. Put the damn beer down, producer Sean.
No, he's buying beers.
All of our friends at Valley Tap Room are going to treat us to a nice match as well. Limited spacing. You will have to hit the link when it gets posted on PHX__rising. Got the dope patio, the wine slushies, as I think I saw Thomas in the chat earlier. All kinds of good stuff at our friends at Valley Tap Room. Check them out on Instagram at Valley Tap Room or in person at the 202. And Gilbert. Oh yeah. Mr. Owen Evans. You're ditching us for that match, actually, I hear.
Yeah, well, because Rising are playing a game that night as well.
That's also going to be a combo of it too. Rumor has it that Wednesday, whatever that number was, the date.
26.
Thank you. The 26th. That's going to be a dual women's USA versus Netherlands World Cup watch party and Rising watch party.
You can just say it, Max. You don't have to
I'm building the suspense. It's what you do.
It's not really suspenseful. It's just cringy.
It's some more in the same some ways. Well, Mr. Owen Evans, since I apparently say cringy things, what do you want to talk about next?
Should we talk a little bit about the Women's World Cup? Because we're about a week away from it.
It's a great transition.
We're about a week away from it. A week away from it kicking off in New Zealand, Auckland. Eden Park is where the tournament will kick off. It's going to kick off New Zealand taking on Norway in that opening game.
Who do you like?
Who do I like in that game?
Yeah.
Norway.
Cool.
New Zealand have never won a Women's World Cup game.
For great time to do it.
Norway are a previous winner of this tournament.
You're not back in the host nation?
No, I think, look, New Zealand to me are going to have a tough time with it in this tournament, right? Under the old format where you had 6 groups, you had the opportunity whereby you could go through in a third place. Yep. That is no longer a possibility now. There are 8 groups. It's the 32 teams, so you've got to finish in that top 2. They are drawn in a group to me. I'm looking at them. I see Norway are probably going to get out of that group, I think, with relative ease. Now, New Zealand could get their first ever World Cup win in their second game. That'll be taking place in Wellington as they play against the Philippines. As a team, they actually played in a friendly back in September, I believe. Yeah. They played them in a friendly, and New Zealand came out on top in that game. So I think with the home field advantage and with the fact that they're playing a team that are weaker, I think they've got a reasonable chance to come away with their first World Cup win. Then that'll mean it'll come down to the final game down at Forsyth Bar Stadium in Dunedin, where they will be taking on Switzerland. I don't know what to make of that game. Now, I saw Wales, of course, back in the playoffs in UEFA, taking Switzerland to the very end of that game. Yeah. In fact, Wales lost it 2-1, conceding a goal in the 122nd minute. Tough. So close to taking them to penalties away from home. To me, they're Switzerland. Clearly, then, they're fallible.
Yeah.
But are they going to fold on this kind of a stage? I don't know if they will. Maybe the home field advantage comes into play. Of course, there's a little bit of interest from New Zealand, really. Yeah. ASU's Gabi Rennie is making the trip over there. She's representing her home country of New Zealand. Cool. We did actually manage, caught up a little bit with her earlier this week. She was speaking about things that happened in the friendly. They managed to play a friendly against Vietnam, picked up a win in that last tune-up game going into the tournament. Let's listen to what Gabi had to say.
Yeah, for me personally, it was great. I was happy to get a few minutes. Obviously, always pushing for more minutes on the field. But it's good. We've got a lot of depth in the squad. Previous tours, we've had a lot of injuries. We've been very in and out. So yeah, the squad is definitely our strongest squad we've had in a camp for the last couple of years. So that's really positive. And then overall for the team, I think it was nice for us to have a lot more possession, which is not normally the case for us in a lot of international matches. So it was good for us to practice being patient, having possession, breaking lines down, and then getting a final product. So yeah, it was a good game. It was nice to have that confidence under our belt and for us to have that winning mindset going into games. And we want to take that into the World Cup games. So
yeah, look, I'm honestly, I think we're all going to be vaguely watching along. The kickoff times, unfortunately, for New Zealand, not great. A lot of midnight kickoffs in there.
Oh, gosh.
But I think it's something that we should be watching along with. I think, of course, you want to see her doing as best as she can, representing ASU out there in the Women's World Cup. And she'll be back actually playing at ASU come the fall after this is done. Of course, if they make it all the way, Coach Graham Winkworth might have to work out what to do without her for the first couple of games. I don't see that being a problem, but hey, football, weird stuff has happened.
Yeah. We should, what's it called? Well, I'm curious, right? Because this is going to be a very interesting World Cup where I don't think there's one clear favorite like there has been in years past. It's definitely a lot of
teams. There has been necessarily for a couple of years. Really.
Right, but I think the gap has, people say, oh, when's the gap going to close? I think the gap not only has closed, I don't even know if necessarily there's a gap anymore. There's definitely a handful of dominant teams, but I think the days of people just, the U.S. outright betting favorites again, it's not trying to be U.S.-centric, but in context of the Women's World Cup, they have been. They've been a talking point for good reason, and I think they return a lot of talent, especially from years past. But there's a lot of absolutely quality teams. You got your Englands. You have...
Well, you can't... Look, we've got to be serious about this. You're talking about
Mm-hmm.
the US as are they potentially a favourite for the tournament. They're one of the favourites, definitely.
They are.
Of course they should. But you've got to bear in mind, they're not even guaranteed to win their group with the Netherlands in there. The Netherlands aren't mugs.
Oh.
Are they?
Oh.
Okay.
Certainly
You'd
not.
expect that they get through ahead of Vietnam and
We're saying the
Portugal,
same
and you'd
thing.
expect that they won't have much problem necessarily to get out of that group. But I wouldn't necessarily put it past them to finish second in that group.
Oh, I don't think
which
so.
does cause some problems if you're trying to watch those games here, because if they finish first, you're going to find those TV times are much friendlier to you. If they finish second, they're not. So we'll have to see how that one goes. But I think there's a point here where the US, I mean, as Albert says, the US is no longer alone in the top tier.
That's a
even
good-
if the
that's a great
gap
way to
between
put
the
it.
top tier and
Yep.
the next group is large.
Agreed.
I agree.
Agreed.
Although I think that is starting to shrink a little bit. I think that even as... Look, you look at that last game, and I'm going to, of course, bring Wales up because I can. You look at that last game when the US were playing Wales, and people will say, oh, it's a friendly, it's a tune-up game, whatever, sure. It took the US 76 minutes to find a breakthrough at home against a Wales team that are, for the pretty much the most part, not in season, that was without its three biggest players. And they managed to hold the US for 76 minutes.
Yep.
There's a lot of talent in the world now in terms of women's football. You've seen a lot of countries investing more into their domestic setups. I think the NWSL, the idea of the NWSL necessarily as being the destination league is no longer true.
Oh, certainly not.
At all.
No.
And I think that was somewhat inevitable when certain clubs from other parts of the world started to get more involved. Okay, I don't think it's necessarily a shock that when you have clubs that are big household brand names that you've grown up watching, especially on the men's side, decide they want to start women's teams as well. That's tempting.
What a concept.
That's
Yeah.
tempting.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they have financial resources at their disposal to try and really bolster those teams. I think that those kind of things all together, it's really helping grow the game. Now, I don't think that it's necessarily... I mean, there are some countries who still struggle, or I think are not as far ahead in their development as they could be. I think New Zealand, unfortunately, is one of those. They're hosting this tournament. They have, of course, the unfortunate distinction of being a member of the OFC. What does being a member of the OFC mean? It means that you're playing the real tiny islands all the time with no other countries in there if you're New Zealand. So they don't get competitive football against other countries. That's a big problem for them. But then you look at the cycles, you look at the way that CONCACAF is adding more women's tournaments, and you think about what that can add to growing some of these second-tier nations. You look at things like, you look at Europe and the way that the qualifiers work over there now, and the way that it's a full-on multiple-year cycle, much like it is on the men's side, and it's constantly giving you serious competitive football to take part in. I think that all of these things are really important in terms of the development, in terms of the growth. But yeah, there's a lot of countries that I think could have a shot at this one. I will be joining Bandidos Bluebird in the Anyone But England train.
Fair.
I think that an English win is unfortunately a possibility,
Very
and that
real.
scares me
Very
a lot.
real.
That scares me a lot.
Euro
I'm very
champions.
happy to see them crash out as soon as possible. However, let's see if they are to win Group D, which you would anticipate that they probably will. They're in a group with Haiti, Denmark, and China. You would anticipate they probably win that group. They will play the runner-up from Group B, which could mean a meeting in the round of 16 with the one host nation of Australia, very serious country in the women's game, or with Canada, both of whom
Oh, Canada?
Canada, Olympic gold medalist Canada, or host nation Australia.
Yeah.
I think that whoever they get when they get out of that group, they've got a very tough game. And they could be out in the round of 16. I wouldn't rule that out, would you?
No, I mean, I think the thing that's very interesting about this, and you brought it up, is like, right, there's more domestic leagues popping up and getting further investment where it's not just the NWSL or domestic leagues in the US, even with the Super League and whatnot. My theory is this. Even if whether the NWSL grows or anywhere like that, we're not getting to a point where, like you mentioned earlier, national teams are expanding at the academy level and really just getting more into the grassroots marketing at an earlier
100%.
age. That way, if you are a woman looking to play soccer or anything like that, you're not, I think, swayed into not playing because of, maybe a financial standpoint. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I will clarify that. But you're starting to see more of an investment from a national side where that does help that decision of, is this a viable option for my career? Where will I be able to play? By no means is it solved, but it's starting to become more of a conversation that doesn't rule people out completely. And once you see that in other countries where it's not just the US where, you can play if you want, or if it builds out, I can make a career out of this. When you actually see countries start investing in this, like the powerhouses, like in England or Spain or these other countries that are
run into its perennial problem.
That's what I'm saying. We're now starting to see that where the men's side is finally, the governing body of these countries is starting to invest and say, hey, we can invest in women's soccer because it's not just nice to have or, it's a good thing. It's because it's a viable moneymaker. And people are coming for this.
No, it is. And I think, look, you've got to look at it, and this is where the US are going to struggle going forward, is I think that you're seeing more investment in the elite side of the women's game at grassroots level.
Yes.
At catching those youngsters and funneling them into elite pathways across the world in countries that have historically invested in that for the men's side.
Yep.
Okay? The US is still trapped up in its old playbook of let's do the pay to play, let's have these ridiculously expensive academies. And those are things that have stifled the men's side, undoubtedly, have stifled the men's side over the years.
Yep.
And as the rest of the world wakes up, it will stifle the US.
Yep.
I think that's something that the US has had a lot of success, and they've had a lot of very good players. And I say this not to take away from those players whatsoever. The US has put out some very, very good players in the women's game. But they have also done so at a time when many countries that are very big footballing nations have neglected to invest in the infrastructure on the women's side. Many of those countries are waking up now. They're putting their money where their mouth is and actually really trying to drive forward the women's game. Even if it's not there yet, it's not at the point that it should be at yet. It's getting better. And I think that that's long run going to mean that the US, I don't think they disappear off the map. I don't think they do at all, because it's very entrenched here that this sport is one that has a large number of young women and girls play.
Yep.
And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But you're going to get to a position where the US will be a power, but not the power.
No, that's a really good way to put it. You're seeing the investment paying off with other countries, and there's a long way to go. We're not going to shortchange that, but it's that this is no longer an afterthought, or in some ways, we'll just couple it in or do it as well. People, companies, federations are seeing that there is value and a payoff to investing in these women's teams at a younger level, and it's starting to happen. A rundown.
I'll also say though, actually, because Michael's very confident that not only the US are going to win their group, but if he's also saying this, Sam Kerr is brilliant, not brilliant enough to carry Australia past England. Michael, it's a tournament. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina at the World Cup. And here's the thing now. Yeah, they do go on to win the whole thing. But here's the thing. We're talking about the US winning the group. To me, the gap between the US and the Netherlands is not as big as the gap between Argentina and Saudi Arabia. And that's all you're asking. If both teams end up beating the weaker countries in their group, it comes down to the game between those two teams.
That's a good point.
And I even if you say the US win that one 3 times out of 4, that's still not much in terms of the Dutch have a chance of actually doing that.
Sure. Yeah, a quick rundown of just from a FIFA rankings, the top 10 women teams in order from 1 to 10. USA, Germany, Sweden, England, France, Spain, Canada, Brazil, Netherlands, and Australia. Right, definitely you even hear a couple of those teams where they've either been powers, the last decade, some that have really come through and emerged in the last couple of years. This World Cup is going to be a really interesting one, right? I mean, not just from the U.S. perspective, but even just like the fun of like you're waking up, early in another country. Like it's something like it's such a simple thing, but like I don't know, it's awesome to see. And also, here's a concept: a World Cup in the summer. Love to see it.
A World Cup in
what a thought.
The summer. Except
wow.
it's not. It's in the winter.
I mean, they're winter.
They're in the Southern Hemisphere.
Oh,
Max.
okay. Well, you know what
it's
I mean.
In the winter.
Well, you know.
So go on, Max.
Yeah.
Who are you taking? Come on, we're a week out.
Oh man.
I'm not making a prediction, but because Wales aren't there, so I don't have to predict. I need to know how much you actually back your country or whether you think they're going to lose.
Can I will say this before I give my prediction, and I want to ask the chat, because I think this is probably easy enough to organize. Can we do one of those things where there's probably a name for it, right? And maybe producer Sean can probably help me fill in the gap. But what is it, right, where like you have, everyone's assigned a certain team, and you essentially just follow that team. If you win, like whatever. What is that called?
I don't know.
It's not a pool, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would
just a
knockout pool.
I guess a knockout pool, but
bracket,
you're just randomly assigned a team. I think that would be very fun. And chat, please chat reply.
If you want,
reply if there's something you want to do.
If people want to do it, right? We'll do a draw live on air on Monday.
I mean, I like that. I would like to get some live feedback now, just to see if people are even interested. But let us know.
We'll do that.
Now for my prediction. I do back the US.
And I will say this, by the way, in terms of the live draw, if I was to be given England, I will be skipping the pick and it will move on to the next one. Sweepstakes of sorts. But it says, yeah, it could be.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is like someone will get a prize, but it's like there has to be like a randomness to it. We're not going to be drafting teams. Like
we're just
crazy.
going to pick the names out of a hat. So we'll have 32 slots, of which we obviously take one each.
DM at PHNX__rising.
Are our DMs open?
If
I'm checking if our DMs
we should check that first. Well, if you're not, you should follow us, and then I think that's how the DMs work, right? They'll be open, or is the whole Twitter?
No, we
thing?
have to follow them back, Max.
Size.
I am doing it now, producer Sean.
I can't. This is tough to get a good co-host these
days.
There we
go. Our DMs are
all right.
open.
We're just gonna edit out this last 20 seconds.
Our DMs are now open.
Our DMs.
If you want to be involved,
there's no now. It was always open. Our DMs are open. Please DM at PHNX__rising if you'd like to get involved in this randomized pool bracket thing, whatever, and we'll be drawing names
we'll
on
have
Monday.
One. You've got one.
And
that means we got 30 spots available.
30 spots.
Hop on in, guys.
Hop on in. DM at PHNX__rising.
We've already had one request.
Let's go. Wow. They're quick. They act quickly. And you get 2 entries if you Photoshop a picture of Owen drinking beers.
No, you don't get 2 entries. Max will find out a prize. The prize will be he picks up your tab one night. The whole tab.
I'm almost tempted to do that, but it really depends on who wins. Because
you can put a max.
There's a couple degenerates in here.
You can put a max on it if you want.
You can put a max on it.
You can put a max
DM us at PHNX__rising to get in, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We'll win some prizes, maybe from our friends at Circle K. Hooking us up with some prizes. I was in mid-transition.
Too quickly.
I was in mid-transition.
I was going to say, if we're doing this draw on Monday, you need to DM us at the very latest, I'm going to say noon Arizona time on Sunday. Okay?
All we're doing is making a list.
No, I'm going to do the draw out then on the air on the Monday. We're trying to fill up these spots.
But what I'm saying is all you need is a list of people.
Well, yeah, I know. So you've got to DM us to tell us you're in by
noon on Sunday?
Yeah.
People forget. I'm overriding that.
We want to fill in the gaps if there's less with people in the office.
We're
brainstorming this as we go along.
Better not be any gaps. Okay, here we're gonna come to consensus. Noon on Monday.
And no Michael, who's just messaged, we're not giving me England. But Michael's in.
You have noon on Monday.
There's only 28 spots left.
There are 28 spots left. On. DM at PHNX__rising to get in on our random pool
27.
bracket, whatever. 27. They're flying like hotcakes or something like that. DM at PHNX__rising by noon on Monday to get in. Let's freaking go. All right. And where was I? Oh, yes, my impeccable transition, Circle K. Maybe there's going to be a nice offering from there. Hi, girlfriend of mine. Hello, Samantha. Nice to see you in here. Yeah, you should DM at PHNX__rising and you'll be letting in all the fun. I'm definitely not going to sabotage it and give you a terrible team. Oh, gosh.
You aren't sabotaging anything, Max. I'm doing the draw.
How dare you? Circle K. Absolutely love our friends at Circle K. Trying to gas me up. I'll gas my car up with Circle K. They're going to fill them up with the best gas, the snacks, the drinks, everything like that. And you know, of course, in addition to the gas and the snacks and all that good stuff, got Polar Pops, baby. We got Polar Pops. Do me a favor. Those of you, after you DM at PHNX__rising to get in on this fun we're having, I would like you to go ahead and text PHNX. Again, that's PHNX to 31310 for a buy one, get one free Polar Pop. I see Mikey in the chat. I still don't know why I haven't seen you on the screens at Circle K. Buddy, all I'm saying is, keep on checking, because if producer Sean is on it, producer Sean is on it, that means I'm going to be on it too. So let's just say they're going to be making an appearance from Madman very shortly. So that might me. Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to do a bonus. I'm going to do a bonus. I will actually support this. If you get a picture of me at Circle K, the first 3 people to do it and send and tag me on Twitter or at me on Twitter, whatever the hell you call it, I will buy you a beer. I will buy you a beer. Add me on Twitter. Add Max David Simpson with my picture on it. No, it does not apply to PHNX employees.
Max making this claim while he's not actively in the rotation of personalities showing up on Circle K monitors.
What do you mean?
It's Saul and I right now.
There are, okay, in that last rotation, there was like 6 of us, so my time will come.
Yeah, okay.
My time will come. They just started the last batch. I don't know what you want from me. Anyway, yes, do that. I will buy you a beer. 4 Peaks beer from our friends at Circle K if you do that. Again, text PHNX to 31310 for buy one, get one free. Polar Pops, you'll be glad you did. Also be glad you did is if you take a little OGs, right? OGs brands, absolutely love them. Listen, what more do I need to say? You guys accuse me of being on OGs constantly, and you're crazy. That ain't it. But, well, when I am, it feels pretty damn good. So check out the indicas, the sativas, the creams, the fruits. Producer Sean, you've been indulging in one pink lemonade as of recently. As he furiously puts on his headset.
That's the best flavor they
awesome.
have, which is saying something because they got a lot of really good flavors.
They got all bangers, and that is the banger in there. Is a question for Circle K, is Owain on there? Hell no, I don't want to damage the relationship. You know, our friends at OG's Brands, absolutely amazing. They always got the great stuff in there. You know, check them out again at OG's Brands on Instagram. That's OGEEZ Brands on Instagram, or on the interwebs at ogsbrands.com to find them at a dispensary near you. It's gonna be fun. Maybe the winner gets. I'm not gonna finish that sentence for legal purposes, but you can fill in the blank. Yes, Mr. Owen Evans, we've gone Gold Cup. We've gone even more international with the World Cup.
I've been replying to these Women's World Cup things.
That's amazing.
We've already got 7 entries.
There
we go, guys. Let's go. It's starting to tick on. We'll be coming on. We'll do a nice double blind draw on Monday.
I will be blind. You will blindfold me, and it'll happen.
Exactly. We'll just put football in front of him. He'll be blind like he normally is.
Anyway, gosh, that was good. Anyway, we went regional with the Gold Cup. We're in international with the World Cup. We're not going to bring it all back.
Local,
national with
Manuel Arteaga.
Oh yeah, baby.
Player of the week, month. Sorry,
we like that. We like that. We love that, actually.
Indeed.
I mean, here's the thing. We've talked about him at length this season. Would you ever have thought we'd be in this position?
Early does no, but I think that what we've seen is a real building up of him and the way that he's played. I think he's gotten better as the season's gone on. We actually had our good friend Reese has been doing some research on that today, looking into some of the details behind it, and it's something that actually, as we sat down, kind of, I mean, look. The eye test would tell you Panos is probably a big part of this attack kickstarting. Yeah. So do a lot of the numbers, especially as you look around Manuel Arteaga. You look at that after that Pittsburgh game. Pittsburgh, his first game, he comes on for a short appearance at the very end. After that game, you start to see a bit of a switch. You see him taking more shots. You see him recording a higher XG, so he's getting better shots as well. Okay? You also see that there's chances that are being created. They're coming from different places. Previously, a lot of the chances rising and created, they're coming from people like Kreutz and they're coming from people like Lambert. Not necessarily the most attack-minded people. Yeah. You start seeing guys like Gallardo and Varela starting to get a lot more involved in creating chances for this team after Panos' arrival. Panos, of course, also creating a lot of chances himself. But then you get into that then where you're thinking, okay, this attack as a whole has just kickstarted a lot more ever since Panos has arrived. Now, some of it down, you could say, is it the fact that he's a good player and is helping those others create things? Is he distracting the defense? There's lots of things that go into that as well. But I think that there's definitely... Look, the addition of Panos is a huge, huge addition.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Correlation does not always equal causation, but I think it's fair to say in this aspect, it very much does. Listen, not only that, let me take a step back. I believe that Panos's infusion into this offense has absolutely helped create more chances. However, the other thing is Arteaga, we have to give him even, some solo credit. He's also just been way more clinical. There have been so many times early doors in this season, in the first month, even the first 2 months, where so many chances, it was never that this guy wasn't getting in the right position. Like there were games, sure, where he was stagnant, we wanted a bit more movement, but more often than not, it was he's getting good positions, he's getting decent enough service, he's just not finishing.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that was even our concern going into the season of this guy is not in an insult, it's just the fact. He's very much the body type and the skill type of, if you're going to profile him as a poacher, as a finisher of, he's not going to necessarily create his own shot, but if you give him a chance, hopefully he's going to finish it in. And the hopefully was kind of the big equation because saw a pension in Indy 11 to not finish your chances all as clinically, carried over a bit to Rising, and you're kind of going, we wanted to see a change just to even maybe give the guy some confidence back. Maybe, hey, take the pressure off of not having to start. To Juan Guerra's credit, he absolutely stuck with him, infused Panos into the lineup. And I mean, man, it's just been quite a run. Not only in just the type of service he's being delivered, but also the fact that he is finishing chances and he's just not making those same mistakes that you saw earlier in the season. Yes, he's going to miss shots as any striker will, but you're not seeing as many, what do you like, man, you were unmarked, you took a wayward touch, and now you completely given up your chance. He's been much more clinical, and it's been paying dividends.
It has been. It has been. Look, we've said this. I know we've said this before, but as you look at the things, we always said at the start of the season, are we getting, what are we ultimately going to get? Are we going to get Manu from last year, Manu from the year before? The year before was what you wanted to see.
Yeah.
He's surpassed that.
Yeah, oh my God, then
He's
some.
surpassed that. But you know what? We've spoken about Manu. We're running a little bit low on time, but we do need, I think, to run through some of the things that happened this midweek in USL as well, just to run through some of those results. Indy 11 won, Charleston Battery won, Detroit City won, Loudoun United won. Detroit there took the lead, but ultimately fell apart a little bit, giving away a penalty, had half hour or so up, and a man and couldn't make it pay. Louisville City 0, Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1, El Paso Locomotive 1, San Antonio 2. San Antonio coming
nice
back
red card
to win
action.
that game. A lot of stuff going on late in that game.
Where you in the chat, man?
Lot of cards in the
yeah.
96th minute. Really fell apart in that one. There was at least one red card in there for a player, a red card for a coach, I believe, as well. In the mix of all of that, and possibly more action to come later on. We'll have to see what the league office decides to do. The other two games that came up, FC Tulsa 1, Miami FC 0, Oakland Roots 1, Memphis 901 1. Nice. Looking ahead to the weekend, you've got Colorado Springs Switchbacks playing San Diego Loyal. That is the Friday night game at 6 o'clock. And then Saturday, Miami FC playing Charleston, Pittsburgh playing Detroit, Birmingham Legion playing Tampa Bay, Loudoun playing Orange County, FC Tulsa playing Hartford, El Paso playing RGV, Monterey Bay playing Oakland, Sacramento playing Memphis.
Yeah.
There we go. Anything in particular to keep your eye on there? I think Detroit are under a lot of pressure, and I think that Trevor James is starting to... I've been intrigued seeing the turn of some of the fans there, who were incredibly loyal to him at the start of the season.
Results talk.
Cracks are starting to show.
For better or
They're a
worse,
team that
results
just
freaking talk,
They can't score. They can't score. It's
kind of difficult to win games when that happens. Yeah. No, I mean, I think again as a whole, this season continues to be drunk, topsy turvy, and I think the big thing is this is why, and this is even a good reminder to ourselves, which we, to our credit, we've exercised a fair bit of patience pretty much throughout the season. How it starts in the first month, even the 2 months. Like, that doesn't mean it's going to carry on. We've seen a lot of teams rise up from seemingly nowhere and a lot come crashing down.
Sometimes you only got to add one little piece.
That's it.
And it changes. Look at Panos and what he's done in this attack. There we go. It's still not perfect. There's still work to be done, but it's better.
It's better.
A lot better than it was.
Man, that's how we try to approach this podcast every day. All right, on that note, I don't know. On that note,
Remember, if you want to sign up, the
DM us.
spaces are going fast.
Slide in our
You can
DMs.
DM us, or, of course, if you are a diehard member, we'll let you enter via the Discord as well, I think, yeah? If you're a diehard, you can enter via the Discord. No, come on.
Let me hear me out. Hear me out. You need to DM us because we need one place to keep track of us. And please continue to hit that like button. We appreciate you guys. You got to DM us at PHNX__rising because that's how we keep track of it. But if you are a diehard, for those of you who, support us,
He'll buy you a beer.
no, you get 2 entries. No.
Mate, we've only got 32 anyway.
Doesn't matter. Executive decision.
All right.
Executive decision. And here's the thing. If people, let's say we get more than 32 sign up, we're just going to couple people together. And if, let's say there's 2 people on a winning team, they both get prizes.
Okay.
Money. If you're a diehard, you get 2 entries. Boom. That's how we reward our people. That's how we reward our people. You slide into our DMs at PHX__rising. Let's go.
Feel free, send us a screenshot of your diehard.
Yes. Send us proof that you're a diehard.
Send us proof that you're a diehard,
Yes.
and you'll be.
I mean, we know, but just do it. Don't make me or Owen work too hard. We already do. We're hardworking people. At least one of us is. We're not going to say who. Anyway,
It's
you
not
get,
him.
all right. Appreciate
He
everyone.
just reads ads all day.
Stuff work, but someone's got to do it. You can appreciate everyone joining the show. As always good time here. We're going to be back with you guys because no game, right? It's really weird. No
Really
game. No more Owen skipping town, missing games. But, we're going to be back with you Monday for this drawing for our pod at 6 p.m. It's going to be a fun time and watch some Gold Cup, everything like that. We'll, come with a little recap and all that jazz. Yes, Albert, freaking yes. Highlight that. Albert, let's go. Become a diehard. I'm going to do one more read. Why not? Just come out diehard. If you want to get 2 entries.
I can't give up on these ads.
If you want to get 2 entries instead of just 1 entry, become a diehard at the PHNX Locker. Again, PHNXLocker.com. And you get access to all of our written content. Again, 90% of it's free, but you get that 10% behind the paywall. Boom, that's unlocked. You get discounts on our merch, discounts on events, all the good stuff we do. And also, you're supporting us. We always appreciate it. We try to reward our diehards, and it's going to be a fun way to do it. So thank you, Albert. Thank you to all the diehards in the chat and those of you who are going to sign up. But yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Everyone have a great weekend. Come back to us on Monday, do a little, draft, a little bit of Gold Cup breakdown, and then we have a match to actually look forward to. And also, rumor has it, I'm just going to maybe plant a seed here that we're going to be at a certain ticketed event next week. That's all I'm going to say. So leave a cliffhanger.
Friday night, if you want to have fun on Friday night next week.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, of course.
Make sure to hit up the place where Max is buying beers.
But check out at PHNX__rising for updates on the Women's World Cup watch parties, as well as DMing us to get a part of this contest. And, because double the underscore.
Double the fun. And double the entries to this if you're a diehard.
Love that transition. You can follow me on Twitter at MaxDavidSimpson. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJEvans18. You can follow producer Sean on Twitter.
Producer Sean is here. He will mention his
at Sean_DePause. Of course, I know it off the top of my head. Yeah, of course, buddy.
And producer Sean, can you just remind us here, what is Max doing?
Wait, no.
I believe we can get it up on the screen.
No, don't do it. No.
Max is buying beers.
Don't like it. Yeah, he said it questionably. He doesn't even know. But no, appreciate everyone joining us. Have a great weekend. We will catch you guys on Monday. And remember, it's the beautiful game, but it's even more better when Owen's buying you beers. Hurry, end it, go, yes.
No, it's you buying the beers, Max.
Damn.
It's
End
you
the
buying
show.
the beers.